How are we doing, guys? It's Pierre from MK Fixer Scooters again. We're here to show you a rebuild on a scooter we recently took apart as a project that we built not too long ago. But we decided to take it apart so that we can rebuild it and show you how we build our all-wheel drive systems. One downside in this video is we are going to be using some parts that have already been pre-modified. We'll try and cover those in another video in the future if there isn't already some videos about it. But let's get straight into this. We're going to mount the bottom bearing here. Put our suspension in. Already placed our top bearing, cup cover and ring in there. What we'll do is drag these over to support the suspension for a second. We get our pole. And make sure you put your locking ring in as well. And then your little protector. Just slide the pole on like that. So I'm going to leave that as it is for now. Essentially we need to tighten these two bolts to make sure we can align it straight, but we'll do that at the end. For now, nothing can come out. So this is the motor we're going to be using. As I mentioned, we have the monitor and deck cover here. A disc would sit here, but unfortunately we're waiting for a new hydraulic set to come, which comes with some new discs. I'm not going to mount anything until those come, but you get the idea. So you got, with the cover as a kit, you get these bolts, which you may have not seen before. I'll try to produce a better picture during this video, then you can probably see them down here. And then you've got some washers as well. This one is an additional washer I've had to use to mount my suspension together. That won't come in the kit. The idea is they slide on there and your bolt goes in. So what I'm going to do is mount this onto our suspension so that I know it won't fall over. Lovely. So my motor is actually designed, and even with the Shark sets as a standard, is designed to come off really easily. So you can see how simple this is, just going to slide on. I'm going to put my bolt in here and then just tie it out, just like so. And then on the other side, I'll do exactly the same. Just line it up, put my bolt in, make sure it's nice and straight, and then do it up. Like so, and that is our motor mounted, ready to go. The easiest way to do the rear suspension is to basically chop the cable and then rejoin it, because you will struggle to get the nuts through and over all the cables. It can be done, but it's a bit of a pain in the ass. So I would recommend just to chop it and rejoin your cables afterwards. What we've done here is we've taken out a 14mm hole. You have two black bolts that hold a silver bracket on this side. You get rid of that, you don't need that anymore. Same for the two bolts, you don't need those. These nuts are called extension nuts. They're sold separately, they do not come with this kit. You do get two in the kit, but they're not long enough. And they're a 19mm, whereas this is an 18mm, so that you can get a socket inside here. I will try and take some pictures on this as well so that you can see a clearer picture. But for now, what we're going to do, make sure our motor's sitting straight, the suspension's sitting fairly straight, and just try and get our nut to catch onto the thread here. With that, it's hand tight. There we go. So I was just trying to line it up and I got the disc caught there. So what I'm going to do is grab a bolt from I'll pop my bits. 5mm. Right, so the with that bolt in there, that's just going to help support it, keep it in place. It's not going to fall off. I'm going to put it in all the way so that it's still got a bit of movement there. It's just going to stop it from falling out. I'm actually going to screw it in yet. So again, that one's just hand time. We won't come back to that one yet. We're going to do that in a second. What we're going to do is get the mud guard in. In the meantime, mount bottom. Starting to get heavy now. Starting to feel like a real scooter. Don't want to over tighten them, otherwise you'll end up stripping the head or you may damage the thread. These inside nuts, when you come to build the rear suspension, if you're using it on your scooter, as a tip, I recommend to always check it. I'm not going to say every day, but maybe once a week if you're riding your scooter every day, otherwise every other month, because they do tend to come loose over time. Alright. So, suspension mounted, motors mounted. What we need to do is now tighten both motors. Fortunately I have more than 2 tools here, so I'm going to use one on each side. Like so. That's perfect, so just going to nip that up. I'm not struggling to nip it, just putting a bit of force on it. Let's give this one. Come back over it. Put that extra little notch. Back over it. Give it an extra turn. Not too much. So that's more than enough for me. I'm happy with that. Come on baby, you can't stay in there. I don't need no stump pegs, thank you. So that is as mounted. And nice and clean. Fresh. Bish bash. I'm going to take the scooter out of the way now. While it's out of view, I am going to tighten the front motor. Right, nothing better than a clean workbench. Just take a look at the dashboard. So underneath you have one throttle, one brake lever and your headlight. I'm using an old dashboard here, but it's as simple as all you would need to do is unplug your dashboard. You wouldn't need to take the cover off or anything unless you're flashing it or unless you're changing it. Otherwise just unplug it and leave the rest alone. There's nothing special going in underneath there for your all-wheel drive system to work. As mentioned earlier, this is a Xiaomi Pro frame, so it's wider than a standard Xiaomi, which will probably come up to around about there. I'm going to show you how we mounted our controllers. One thing we had to do, and you'll notice on your scooter, is you have some lugs here that come outside of the frame, making it not sit perfectly flat. You can still see some here. These aren't too much in the way for me. But the way I got them out is by just taking the spot welds out at an angle like that with a hammer and a screwdriver, or you can use whatever tool you may have to hand. Same with these ones, just to try and get them a bit more flat. Or you can take them out. These ones didn't come out, but they're normally when you crack the sides you can just pull the inserts out. Fortunately mine didn't come out so nicely, but they're not in my way, so I managed to get them down enough. So what we're going to do, look at our first controller. What we're going to do here is just douse our controller. I love to do it like this. Better to have too much than too little. exactly like so. I always put the controller side with the wires coming out that way you can get a neater finish. What we'll do is we'll just slide that up like so. Did make a little bit of a mess there, but it's not a big deal. Can tidy that up later. So what I tended to do was squeeze my controller up as much as I could, forcing it up the frame, and then I would mark out with a pencil or a pen the best line there, take the controller back out and drilled a 3.5mm hole to then fit a 4mm screw inside. So happy with that. I didn't, but you can if you want to drill down the sides in there and try and mount it a bit better. Give it a nice layer of thermal paste. And we'll mount her in there like that. So same again. Controller cables go in this side closest to the frame. There's no need to have them all the way down here, otherwise you need to make your cables longer, so it's unnecessary. And then we'll grab our 4mm screws. Again, you would mark out where you want your controller to sit. Okay, so I'm going to go around and adjust those later. Let's get into the battery. So we're going to slot in a 48V mono battery. Nice and snug, fits in perfect, and it's going to be powerful enough to run these controllers with the settings that we're using. So let's get into a bit of detail of the wiring. So what we have is a parallel cable. One plug goes in there. And the other plug goes in there like that. Obviously you can make this as neat as you want it to look. It's entirely up to you. You could lash it in. You try to take a few minutes and try and do it as neat as possible. I would recommend that, so it will look nice. We do love a neat scooter. So what we got now here is the data cable, which essentially would plug into your controller. What we do is we plug this into a little adapter, and then this adapter will slide into the cable that we've supplied here for the controllers. What we will do is put some heat shrink over the top of that to stop it from ever coming apart. Just like that. Nice and tidy, all out of the way. We got there. So, because we're using disc covers and our brackets essentially on the original frame are mounted on the left side, it forces the motor to twist the other way in terms of where the direction of the cable is. So because we've had to turn the motors around, you have to rewire them, otherwise they'll be running backwards, and I'm sure you don't want to be trying to ride your scooter backwards. So originally you would have blue, brown and yellow. Brown may be green for some people in some cases if you have the 350W motor, otherwise that is how it will look. You need to change yellow and blue around. So blue would go into yellow, like like so, and then yellow would go into blue. And with your hall sensors, you need to swap green with yellow, yellow and green, you need to swap around, and green and yellow. Sorry, I lost my mind for a second there. So those are the two you need to swap around. You can do it this way by just pulling the pin out, putting it in, putting that one out, putting it in. For some reason and whatnot, this motor in particular, we didn't do it that way. But you can just simply unplug the pins and plug them back in that way, which makes it really easy. So we'll then plug our hall sensors in. We can try and just tidy these cables up the best we can. These ones have been beaten and milled around so many times because this scooter's been that scooter and then that scooter's been this scooter, and if you've been following our Facebook, you'll know. What we try to do is just make that as tidy as we can. Now, then I get our rear motor cable. So what we're going to do at the back here, set the battery out. We're just going to try to size up how much slack we can leave on the outside there. May not look much in the camera, but that should be enough for us. And then we're going to splice it. So that it would give us now enough room. So it's going to be the same on this side. There is one thing we haven't done yet, which is the dashboard. If you watch the video on how to do this, make sure you plug these in before you plug your battery in. Otherwise, chances are something's going to go kaboom. And it would be probably better if I did this the other way around. So this is just a makeshift cable, a bit of tape on there because I used some old scrap cable and it was a little bit exposed, so didn't want anyone to have a heart attack. Kaboom! We are in business. So, just going to flex these over here for a minute. Well, no beeping yet, that is a good sound. Both controllers are powered on. No fault codes. Motor 1 is working. Motor 2 works on its own. So we can get motor 1 back in action. Both respond exactly the same. Although there's a delay and one's not running, the other's not running, they both run exactly the same. On our setup we do have the front motor with a more powerful software. That's why you'll notice that we have two separate softwares on our website. This one is pulling some separate power. And the back one just accompanies it. For a bit more information on the controllers, we're using a controller from My Best Scooter. This is a clone controller, it's not an original one. I believe he does sell original ones on his site as well, so it'd be a great one to buy. All we've done for this is reinforced the traces on the back and added some cooling pads for the back of the MOSFETs. Same with this one, cooling pads on the MOSFETs and reinforce the back. This is a genuine controller, I believe it's a 2.1, quite an old one, probably been using it for over a year, so it seems to have survived. We have gone through a lot of these when doing all-wheel drive setups, whether that be dual dash systems, one dash systems. The main cause that I found was when plugging the batteries in, it just seemed to short something out. So always plug your discharge cables in first, then your battery. Same with taking it apart. Don't go taking one apart, whether it's on or off, it doesn't matter. Disconnect your battery first, then disconnect your cables. All right, so I'm going to show you the brake working to make sure that that's all good. Throw it away. Not a single problem. Running absolutely. So it's your 48-volt battery in there. 2 stock controllers with the minor modifications that I mentioned. Obviously, some of you might be thinking, well, that's not mounted well. How's that going to cool? How's it going to work? Honestly, I've ridden like this for miles. With a 48-volt battery, I wouldn't recommend using it every day. Just light usage. 36-volt system, this works flawlessly, absolutely flawlessly, and you get such a great improvement, not just in acceleration, but the top speed. Rather than the scooter trying to be dragged on one motor, when you're getting pulled by 2 motors, it's more or less pushing you. So you've always got that nice torque, nice acceleration, and nice top end. You're always getting the best out of the top speed. So that's I mean, that is pretty much it. That is pretty much it. You can change the modes, as I mentioned. Pretty hard to tell with it off the floor, but I can hear the different modes there myself. So that's sports mode. I mean, don't get me wrong, Eco's not any slower. It's quick, that is flying. On a 48 volt system with a 350 watt motor on the front, it is zooming. With the 300 watt on the back to accompany it, it is double zooming. So I hope this video and tutorial kind of helps you guys. I know it's probably not the best one that I've produced. It's a very long video and I've tried to do it all in one. It's very hard to sort of sit there and edit videos. I know people either pay people to do it or they have the time to do it. Fortunately, I don't. So I'm going to try to provide the best videos I can for you guys. However, it's a rolling ball. It will get there. We will have much better quality videos for you. But in the meantime, this should really help you a lot. Some of you are probably thinking about the battery overhanging. We sell a battery cover that slaps over the top of this. It's a metal one from Monorim. It accompanies this battery perfectly. It comes with 2 brackets that make it support and sit there well. If you haven't seen it, you can find some links in the description. You can find links for the battery. You can find links for the cable that allows 2 controllers to communicate. Other than that, we don't really sell anything as an all-wheel drive kit. We're just really primarily showing you how to make your own. In terms of turning it off, you can hold the power button and it will turn both controllers off, and you turn the power button on and there's your scooter on, ready to start flying. So again, I hope this helps you guys when it comes to building your own. Hopefully you can do it neater than I've done here. Again, bearing in mind we're using used parts and this has been taken apart here and there. I will tidy it up once we've finished here. But yeah, if you like the content, make sure to subscribe and catch up with our next upcoming videos. We will do a little range test and a preview of what this now can do on the street. So if you want to see that, again, subscribe and keep up to date with our latest content. Thank you guys. If you haven't already, like the video and we'll see you in the next one.